It's your host, Margarita Lyadova, and I'm back with another episode of People Jew Want to Know podcast. So many plot twists in today's episode, featuring a nothing short of iconic motivational speaker, educator, and Holocaust survivor, Sami Steigmann. For those who live in New York City, there's a high chance you've heard Sami speak. He's something like a local celebrity and is always incredibly generous with his time and energy. He has spoken at so many events, schools, conferences, you name it, he's done it. Sami's story is a little unconventional. I really recommend you read his full bio on SamiSpeaks.com, but I will give you some of the moments that stood out to me. He was born in 1939 in an area that belonged to Romania at the time. You'll hear him joke that he's from Transylvania and isn't scared of anything. Sami was at a labor camp with his parents from 1941 to 1944. He was a baby, so he doesn't recall much, but he was experimented on as a child in the camp, which has left him with health issues and side effects that he has experienced for the rest of his life. The time at the labor camp was incredibly difficult, and as just a toddler, Sami was dying of starvation. A German woman saved his life and continued to help Sami survive until the camp was liberated. Sami doesn't know the name of the woman who saved him. After the war, Sami's family went to Israel in 1961. Sami served in the Israeli Air Force, and in 1986, Sami went to the U.S. He lived in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where he married and then divorced. In 1988, Sami chose New York City as his final home and has been there ever since. Although Sami experienced great difficulty in childhood, he also had difficulties he overcame in adulthood. Sami experienced homelessness and also lost contact with his child and grandchildren, which he will discuss in the episode. Through all of this, he evolved and overcame, which gave him wisdom that he now shares via his motivational speaking. Sami's mission is emet, educate, motivate, empower, tolerance. In Hebrew, the word emet means truth. Sami has countless life philosophies, some of which he shares in the episode. He also lists all of them out on his website. The common theme of positivity, learning, moving past regret and failure are all present there. Sami is the embodiment of resilience. I can confidently say, of all of the remarkable people I've met, Sami has left one of the most lasting impressions on me via this podcast. He has won something like 20 different awards and recognitions. His portrait hangs outside of the Museum of Jewish Heritage in New York City, and Sami has the warmest look in his eyes. It's so cool to be able to say you interviewed someone who is the face of an iconic place like the Museum of Jewish Heritage. It's also very apparent that speaking is Sami's gift. This is his purpose. And we've come back to this theme a couple of times now throughout the evolution of the podcast. Finding your purpose is a very Jewish thing. Before we get started with the episode, I want to mention a very important part of the plot of my story with Sami. In the episode, you'll hear that we talk about Broadway shows and that I promised Sami that I'll take him to go see The Play That Goes Wrong. Well, I'm a woman of my word, and I can proudly say we went on July 28th. It was an iconic day, to say the least. I first went up to visit Sami in his home, where he showed me a lot of photos and memories. Of course, the second I came in, he offered me fruit, which immediately reminded me of my own grandparents. We then went down to Midtown together and saw The Play That Goes Wrong. Sami claims he doesn't audibly laugh very often, but let me tell you, the guy was chuckling all right throughout the show. Before the show started, we got a call from Sam Freed, who is a soldier in the IDF and motivational speaker. Sam and Sami are great friends as well, so we got a chance to say hello. After the show ended, we finished our adventure at Ellen's Stardust. I had never been to Ellen's Stardust, but Sami has been a few times. It's the famous diner in Times Square where all of the waitstaff are trained vocalists and perform. It was absolutely incredible. Turns out that a manager of Ellen's Stardust is Jewish, and he was very excited to meet Sami and generously treated us to our meal. Afterwards, Sami insisted to walk me to my station. I'm telling you, this is effectively a better date experience than any I've had with a guy my age in New York City. What a privilege it was to spend time with Sami, and what a privilege it is to share his story with you. Please enjoy this episode. Hey, Sami, thank you so much for coming on People Jew Want to Know podcast. It is a huge privilege to have you on today. How are you doing?
I am doing quite well, and Margarita, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very honored, and I am very happy to connect with your audience.
Thank you so much again. Your bio is very well documented. It's very easy to find information about you online, read about your work, and in the introduction of the episode, I've shared a lot about your life and your legacy. As you look back on your life, What are the details you want to fill in that people may not know just from reading about you online?
Learning starts with a question. In my opinion, there are no stupid questions. And I'll give you an example. I think a fourth, maybe a fifth grader asked me to summarize 72 years of life in 2 sentences. You should have seen the expression in the teachers and the other students' faces. And I gave an answer, because I am not scripted. I don't want to be, how shall I say, prepared. So I gave him an answer. It was a pretty good one, but I did not like it. I said there must be another way of answering something like that. And without that particular request, I never thought of doing it. And I said, what were the 3 most important moments in my life? And I came up with 3 things. Number 1, I knew the joy of parenting. Later on, if you want, I will tell why I said I knew, because I am not in touch with my grandchildren. Okay. And I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. I just want everybody, okay, to understand, okay, and to learn from me how I recovered, not being a bitter, angry, revengeful person. Number 2, I knew hate, but not, from the head. Okay, hate from the head is a learned process. If you're interested, if you want, you can unlearn it. But I knew it from the heart. Sami, as a human being, did not exist. I did not believe how low I could sink. And I know what hate can do to a person, to a group of people, to a nation, to the world. At the same time, number 3 is being homeless. And it was one of the most important moments in my life, because I finally found out my mission in life, which is a met. It's also at the same time, I discovered certain skills that I did not know until I was forced to deal with that particular issue. So that's why it's very important for the audience to understand all the questions are appropriate. They can ask me questions on any subject of interest to them. I will tell you exactly how I feel. I don't use PC, but at the same time, I'm not asking anybody to agree with me, just to respect that I may have a different opinion, because I grew up under 2 different other regimes, under the communist regime, socialist regime, and also in Israel, which is a totally different way of looking at things than here in the United States.
I didn't prepare this question for you initially because it felt like an uncomfortable question to ask. But when I hear you speak now, I want to ask it because it's important.
Good.
The topic of homelessness is a little bit taboo for Jewish people because you don't hear about a lot of Jewish people who have experienced homelessness. It's not common. Same with low-income Jews. It's another taboo topic. And I say this as someone who came to America as a Jewish refugee and was a low-income Jew for very many years. And there was a lot of shame around that. Can you talk about your experience with homelessness? What happened and how did you overcome it?
Yes, as a matter of fact, every time I give a presentation, especially with the young people, in any occasion, I do talk about the 2 challenges that I had to overcome. And this is homelessness and not being able to touch with my grandchildren. I got involved with the wrong people. And obviously, I was in a shelter. I know things about homelessness and shelters that a lot of people make the wrong assumptions. I lived it. But interestingly enough, there are 2 things in this country that I am very unhappy with. Number 1, people have forgotten how to disagree in a civil way. And number 2, if you pay attention to the news, nobody is accountable for anything. It's always somebody else's fault, somebody else's circumstances, but nobody's responsible. And I have decided to take responsibility because nothing happens in a vacuum. And I wanted to know, what did I do to lead for me to become homeless? And I made 2 mistakes. These were people that I trusted. Number 1, I gave them cash. Number 2, I did not put anything in writing. Prove it. So I said, something? They are not guilty that put me in that position. They took advantage of my stupidity. And I had to do two things. Number one, I had to learn to forgive myself for making that mistake. And number two, I had to learn to be kind to myself. We are kind to so many other people, but in many cases, we forget to be kind to ourselves. We made a mistake. So what? Okay, learn from it. Find out why you made it. Don't do it again. Move on. It's not the end of the world. Don't dwell on it. But having my positive outlook in life, that sustained me. And when I'm talking about homelessness, I overcame it by volunteering. I used to volunteer for 18 different organizations because each one gave me something that was missing. And I'll give you an example of only two of them. Number one, I used to volunteer for about 15 years for Big Apple Greeter. It still exists today. And they take people from other states and other countries and show them around the city. The perk for me was that I was new in Manhattan. I had to learn something about the city for me to give, the tours. And obviously that was done for free, no charge. And I used to do it very, very often. So the perk that I had is I had to learn about the city. Number two, I met very interesting people. Number three, I learned about different cultures. So it gave me something that was missing in my life. And the most important part, I had the human touch. Number two, I used to volunteer for an organization that does not exist anymore, HAI. And they used to take tickets for people underprivileged like myself. I had a very difficult job. My job was to pick up the tickets, to write a report who came, if they came on time, who did not come. And at the same time, I had two perks. Number one, I could see the show. Number two, I could be a nice guy. And by the way, don't destroy my reputation. I'm not a nice guy. I grew up in Transylvania and Dracula country. But anyway, so it allowed me to be a nice person. I could invite somebody with me. Those are the examples that when you volunteer, you help other people, you are actually helping yourself. And I have seen more shows that you can think of on Broadway, concerts, ballet. So I had all the cultural need fulfilled.
Sami, I have to ask, what is your favorite Broadway show?
Oh, it was not a Broadway show. It was off Broadway.
Which show?
Six Goombas and a Wannabe. It was for a very short time.
I have never heard of this show.
Right.
Oh, wow.
But I want to tell you something. I've seen it twice. I have never laughed so much in my life. It was really funny. It was 6 Italians, mafia, and a Jewish boy that wants to be part of it. But it was really funny. On Broadway, it's something that I saw about a year ago, I believe. And it was, what is it called?
What's it about? Who are the characters?
It's the character that he kills people and they eat it, and then the woman with him.
Sweeney Todd.
Yes. Boy, the character of the woman. I mean, she was so funny. She was so great. And I normally don't laugh very loud quite often. But I was in the theater and I was laughing loudly.
That's actually a great Broadway show. It is a very acclaimed, like that. If you're going to see a Broadway show, it's that one to see.
And the woman, she was absolutely phenomenal.
Did you ever see a show called The Play That Goes Wrong?
No. Right now, I'm not going. Right now, I'm not going because I saw Sweeney Todd because a friend of mine invited me. The tickets are extremely high, extremely expensive.
Yeah, so if Play That Goes Wrong is going, I will take you. It is an amazing show. You have to see it. It's so funny.
By the way, when I was with HAI, I've seen more Broadway shows that you can think of. Unbelievable how many shows I've seen. I've even seen something that normally I never watch on TV. I have no idea what's going on. And this is what is called wrestling. But
Hold on, WWE with the wrestlers. You saw that?
I used to go there. I'd never watched it on TV. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know the characters. But being on in the theater at Madison Square Garden, all the fireworks, the kids, the excitement, knowing the story, and everything else, it's absolutely amazing. I loved it. It was funny. There was one guy next to me, and we were talking. And at the moment I said, for a fake show, these are absolutely great athletes. And the guy, all of a sudden, his face changed. He looked at me and says, "Don't you ever say that." These are real people. And I know that it's staged and everything else, but the acting is fabulous, fantastic. I don't know. They are trained very well. If they get hurt, it's not because the other person hurt them, it's because they made a mistake.
Wow. Yeah. You've seen it all, Sami. That's for sure.
I can put it in a different way. I've seen it all. I've heard it all. I've done it all. I just can't remember it all.
Well, that's my homework. If the play that goes wrong is showing in New York, I'm taking you because it is such a funny play. Oh, it is so funny, Sami. Okay. It's a play about a play. So the premise is it's a play about these people who want to put on a play, but everything they're trying to do, it goes wrong. Everything breaks. Everybody falls. Nothing. They forget their lines. They come into the stage at the wrong time. It is so funny.
Okay. Then you don't mind seeing it again?
No, it's so good. Of course I would see it again.
Okay. The same thing with the Six Goombas and the Wannabe. I saw it twice. That's how good it was. Unbelievable.
I believe it.
By the way, what is a Broadway theater? I'm asking you.
I don't know. A theater? Yeah, a theater that shows Broadway shows.
Okay. Well, a Broadway theater is a theater. It has nothing to do with Broadway. It has to do with how many people it can seat. 500 over.
Oh.
It's a Broadway show. Okay. Under 500, it's off Broadway. Under
Interesting.
100,
I did not know this.
Under 100, it's off Broadway. So please do not disregard off of Broadway because many times they have wonderful shows. And the show that I was talking about, Six Gungas in a Wannabe, I saw it in off of Broadway.
I got you. So it's just a smaller show. I had no idea that that's what it is. That's what you learn when you are doing the cultural greeting tours in New York. You learn the difference between Broadway, off Broadway, off of Broadway.
By the way, do you know that even if somebody lives in New York, they cannot call themselves, quote unquote, a true New Yorker unless they have the egg cream soda. Did you know
And where do you get that? In the city? No.
In the city? I heard of another place, but the one that I know is if you go on 51st Street in Broadway, Helen's Stardust. All the waiters and waitresses want to be fired, which means they get a role on Broadway. They are singers. And if you go there, they will do the egg cream soda at the table, okay? And at the same time, if the waiter or waitress knows a song that you like, they will sing it for you.
That's amazing. I gotta go.
Yes.
Well, I still live here.
Yes. Well, maybe you'll go together.
Yeah, we'll go and then we'll see the show.
Yes. And now, for instance, when we talk, since we touched about the subject of not being able to be in touch with my grandchildren, how did I overcome that? By not being angry. Okay. I do know people that are in the same situation like I am, and if they meet somebody and they talk about their grandchildren, they shut them off and they say, I don't want to hear about it. I'm interested. I want to know as much as I can. All of us have a need and a want. A need must be fulfilled. A want does not have to be fulfilled. Don't ask me why. I cannot give you a good example. My want is to go to Australia. If it happens, wonderful. If not, I'll go on the internet and I can see any city I want. But a need must be fulfilled. And my need is to teach and to share, which I cannot do with my son. I cannot do with my grandchildren. The reason that my son does not want to be in touch with me is because we had a very bitter divorce. I went back to Israel, And whatever her mother said, he bought it hook, line, and sinker, does not want to hear from me. Although I met him twice. But interestingly enough, my need when I speak to students, whatever it is, I tell them, you are helping me to fulfill my need to teach and to share. Especially to the young people, I'm saying whether you know it or not, during the time that we are together, you are become my substitute grandchildren. So we always have to find a healthy substitute to an issue. That brings me to another subject, if I may. I want to talk about optimism and pessimism. Most of the people will say glass half empty, glass half full. My interpretation is different. A pessimist is in every opportunity a problem. An optimist sees in every problem an opportunity. When I was in the shelter, I was a very heavy smoker. I would say at least 2.5 packs a day. I would have never given it up. But I was at a point, at a very low point in my life. I did not want to live. I did not care. And one day I said to myself, when I will quit smoking cold turkey. I did not say I will try. I said, when I will. That's a commitment. I said, I will recover. December 13, 1996, I had my last cigarette. And that was the beginning of my road to recovery. And talking about living under the poverty line, my monthly official income is $1,563. And as you can see, I still smile. So there is a saying in Hebrew, Sameach b'chalki, which means I am happy with my lot and I'm grateful where I am today. And the other thing that I want to mention is that I do not regret anything or change anything that happened in my life, because every step, by the way, brought me to the point exactly where I am supposed to be.
Wow, a lot to think about here. And I wonder, do you think every person has the capacity to change? Or do you think only some who really want it?
Absolutely. The only question is if they are willing to ask for help. I am an extremely independent person and I don't ask for help. So slowly comes a stage that I will have to learn to do that. But people can change, but they have to be willing to ask for help, to admit to themselves that they have an issue. By not admitting to themselves that they have an issue, obviously they will not ask for help.
And how do you think people can learn resilience? I mean, there are so many times in your life where you had to learn how to be resilient and see the opportunity, right? In every problem.
Yes.
And now it's a historic time for the Jewish people when our generation, my generation, has to learn this resilience. How do you think we can do it?
Well, since I'm also an Israeli, I served in the Israeli Air Force, 62, 65. What happened in October 7th, I had to go through the gamut of emotions. But I'm also one of the very few people that can compartmentalize. So, for instance, I deal with one issue at a time, okay, not with several at the same time. So I am not overwhelmed. At the same time, I like to take negatives into something positive. So right now, we are going through a stage that is too far to the extreme left. But people have asked me, do I believe that things will change? And I said, absolutely. But things will get worse before they will get better. Because things have to be so bad that people will start to take action. And a very good example I can give you is DEI. I believe your audience knows what I'm talking about. Okay, so you can see now in the military, you can see now in many, many things. Like, for instance, you have DEI that is going to be questioned right now. Okay, you have it with the Secret Service. So you can see there is a saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentioned people. But when they come up with new ideas, they do not look at the unintended consequences of those things. So we have to be very careful when we come up with new ideas. But that's my personal opinion. I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do or how to do it. Personally, I am taking a negative, turn it into something positive, and I think in a positive way. I don't dwell on the negative. We are where we are today. What can I do? Each individual separately. What can I do to make my life, to make other people's lives better? And we have to think as on a changing one person's perspective, not globally. Okay, globally, I cannot do anything. To explain what I'm saying, I spoke at Bergen Community College, and there was a student, a Palestinian, that asked me a question to which there is no good answer because it was without a context. And as I tried to change and to show him different perspectives, he always came back to the same question. So after a while, I said, let's agree to disagree. But although I talked to him and looked him in the eyes, I did not speak to him. I spoke to the rest of the people. And by the end of the presentation, one student came to me and she said, I did not know that. And that made me very happy because here it is, one person that was willing to do the research. I tell people, don't think globally, think how you can change one individual at a time, and you never know what that person, how he can change other people in the world.
Absolutely. The obvious thing that comes to mind that I can't not talk to you about is the comparison between something like October 7th and the Holocaust, right? October 7th is the largest mass murder of Jewish people since the Holocaust. What are the parallels that you see?
There's no parallel. That's what I want to tell you. A lot of people make comparisons with the Holocaust. Please, okay? And this is one of the things that I do. No other Holocaust survivor does it. When I go, I don't talk too much about the pain that people went through. I present, this is what happened to me. Let's talk about it. But what's important to me is how did it happen? How did it start from zero and came to a point of no return? And I go through several stages that people did not react in time appropriately, and it kept escalating. But I tell them, please, whatever happens today, do not make comparisons from the past. Learn from it. But the same thing I'm saying, Holocaust is a different thing, different era. It was an industrialized murder, the most recorded murder in human history. So if you really want to make comparisons, make it compared to ISIS. The brutality, I knew that an attack will happen. I predicted that, a long time ago. But the brutality absolutely astonished me. And if you really want to make comparison, even the Nazis were not so brutal compared to ISIS. A very good question. This is something that we must really emphasize. People have a tendency to lump things together. And like Jew hatred and hate, they're not the same. Genocide and Holocaust, they're not the same. What happened October 7th Holocaust, they are not the same. Totally different. And I'm going to ask you a question, and please answer it. What does it mean to you, 6 million? 6 million Jews were murdered. What does it mean to you? 6 million.
That means the population of Jewish people that died at the hands of the Germans as part of the Holocaust. That is not all Jewish people that died as part of the Holocaust, because many were killed by the Soviet Union.
11 million people were murdered.
Yeah.
But, what I do is different. To me, 6 million is a number. I cannot relate to it. So all of us, we have to think and to bring things to a common denominator. So I am saying, if you would be on your feet and silent for 1 minute for every Holocaust victim, which means 6 million minutes, you would be on your feet and silent for 11.5 years. That gives you a total different perspective, of the tragedy that happened during those days. And I also say that the Jews were the only group of people going to be slated to be completely annihilated from the face of the earth. And I'm saying not every victim was a Jew, but every Jew was a victim.
Absolutely. Actually, I wanted to tell you something, Sami, that I thought about for many years. I don't know if you've seen this movie. It's called Sobibor. It's the name of a concentration camp
Yes.
where it was nominated for international Oscars.
Yes.
And it's directed by Konstantin Khabensky, who's a very famous Russian actor. He is probably the equivalent of Bradley Cooper in Russia. Like, that's how famous he is. He's definitely an A-list celebrity. And this was a movie that he directed and starred in as the lead.
I came out, but I believe not in the cinema. I saw it on TV.
Yes, it's available. You can stream it now. It's available everywhere. Yes. So it came out probably 2018 or 2019, if I'm not mistaken. And Konstantin actually flew to New York for some film festival where you got to see the screening of the movie. And then you had a Q&A panel with Konstantin and somebody else to ask questions. And I got my Russian speaking friend and was like, we have to go see this. Because when are you going to, meet a Russian Jewish celebrity who's in New York? And it was very cheap. I think it was like $40 to go, because not many people knew about the film or, how good it was. Not many people knew who Konstantin was in America. Right. So we watched the movie. It was very emotional. Then there was the Q&A. And I was so nervous to ask a question because it's like a big celebrity, and he's an idol of mine. I've watched his movies since I was a little girl. And what I saw in his film and that I wanted to ask him about, this is actually very common with Soviet Union Jews. When I watched the movie, I felt this undertone in the movie that he felt the Jewish people could have done more. If only they fought back harder. If only they were more aggressive. If only they saw it coming. 6 million, or however many you want to say, wouldn't have died. There wouldn't be all these victims. The Jews should have done more. And I asked him about that. I said, I'm feeling this from your movie. I asked him this question. I was like, do you think that the Jews were too weak and that they should have done more? And he said, absolutely yes. The Jews should have done more. They came from a weak position. He said it a lot more eloquently than what I'm retelling you now. Basically, he said, the Jews are a very old and wise people, and they really made a mistake in how they handled this. I wanted to get your sense on that. It's hard to hear this from someone, to hear you didn't do enough.
Okay. I want to tell you something. Things have happened so fast that people had no time to react. Imagine yourself. You are brought into a plaza, surrounded by the military, with the guns out. Okay, in front of you, they murder 5-6 families. And then they tell you, you have to meet in the plaza. And you are surrounded. What is your reaction going to be when they tell you that you are going to leave? Number one, how much can you take with you? Where are you going? The unknown is hurtful. You don't have the time to react, to get together and say, let's fight, let's attack him. You don't know. You don't have any arms. A lot of people were thinking of resistance only of the military resistance. And we can think about the Warsaw Ghetto, for instance. The only thing that I can tell you is that Jews did not go to their slaughter like sheep. And people have resisted in many different ways. And I'll give you a few examples to understand. Music. Music gives you hope. People that were in many places, that were hidden. People that were in the forest, in the sewer. For years, when they were hidden, they could not talk. They could not listen to music. Okay? For instance, you had in concentration camps. They had schools. They taught the kids how to pray, how to read. They had theater. People were starving to death. On Yom Kippur, they were fasting. So there were so humanitarian ways. Like, for instance, if I had a piece of crumb of bread, and I saw somebody in worse condition than me, I would give it to that particular person. Humanitarian resistance. So there were so many forms, and people make a mistake when they think of resistance only military resistance. We can resist, people used to paint, and they found paintings after the war and everything else. So people used to express their feelings and their hope in so many ways. I'd like to give you an example. A Nazi asked a Jewish violinist to play. The Jew didn't know what type of music he likes, did not know what to play. And the Nazi said, Jew, play, Jew, play. And finally hesitantly started to play. After he finished the melody, the Nazi told him, play again, and play again, and play again. Do you know which melody was played? Kol Nidrei. It's the most haunting melody in Jewish liturgy. And the Nazi absolutely loved it. There were so many things that just did not make sense. The Nazis loved, for instance, Hava Nagila. They did not know it's a Jewish dance song. So the many things. Very interesting. So people make a lot of assumptions, misrepresentations, and that's why you have to talk to somebody that went through. And I tell especially the young people, do not learn about somebody's culture from the TV. If you really want to learn about somebody's culture, talk with a person from that particular culture. They can really tell you.
I am so worried, Sami, about a world where we don't have any living survivors years from now, and there's nobody to tell their story correctly.
They have right now the second generation that talks. You have the third generation, 3G, and right now they're starting with 4G, great children. The Holocaust must be taught forever and ever. And for me, it's not because really what happened. I talk about how it happened, not what had happened. For me, what's important is to understand what hate, because the Holocaust is the best example that can teach you what hate can do to a person, to a group of people, to a nation, to the world. And that's why we have to talk about the Holocaust. It's the best example, what hate can do. By the way, all the tragedies in the world start the same way, with words, bullying, and propaganda. And the situation that we are in today, not only in this country, but everywhere else, is because the media is complicit. Without the media, nothing can be achieved. And I can give you, with your permission, I can give an example. Have you heard of a national rally called No Fear?
No.
Okay. It was a national rally co-sponsored by almost every single Jewish major organizations. And only 3,000 people showed up from all over the country. They had wonderful speakers, each one better than the other. They had a senator. They had a congressman. Not a single Jewish leader was there. The media was not there. And nobody knows about it. So whatever we want to make changes, we have to bring the media with us. I identify, pay attention because I'm differentiating between two things. I identify with the BLM movement. They brought the media with them, and it's known not only nationally but internationally. However, I do not identify with the BLM organization, which is anti-Jewish and anti-Israel. So again, we cannot lump two things together. We have to differentiate between them.
I completely agree. And one of your core principles that you like to mention is never be a bystander, be an upstander. How do you think we can become upstanders today?
Only one way: education. They asked one time a musician, famous musician. I don't know which one it was. Okay, how do you go to Carnegie Hall? He said, practice, practice, practice. So what I am saying, one thing: if you want to change somebody's perspective, you must be educated in that particular subject. I would never talk to a Holocaust denier because I'm not interested in the subject. I don't know too much about it. I did not read some of the publications that they have. And they can throw things at me and I have no idea how to answer. So what I'm really saying, if you really want to change somebody's perspective, you must be knowledgeable. Are you interested in climate change? Learn about it. Educate yourself on that. Are you interested about Israel? Educate. The Gaza war, educate yourself in it. Are you interested in the conflict between the Palestinians and Israel? Educate yourself. Otherwise, don't make things up. Okay, you have to be educated on that particular subject. There is a virus that can never be eradicated, and that is bullying, bigotry, Jew hatred, hate, racism, and ideology. It has always been there. It will always be there. It depends on technology taking different forms. The only way that we can do it is only through education. And that is my core value. The other thing is, I don't want people to dwell on the past. We all made mistakes, and many people, when they made a mistake, they feel like a failure. And I say, you're a failure only if you don't try. And I like to quote that a reporter asked Thomas Edison, Mr. Edison, how does it feel to fail 10,000 times? And Edison smiled and said, I have never failed. I just realized that my previous experiment did not work. So always, okay, move forward, okay, never give in. You know my motto in life. I am not what happened to me. That does not identify me. I am what I choose to be. And I am Sameach b'chalki, happy with my lot. And that's why I can still smile with all the what other people think it's terrible. I don't see it as terrible.
I think you'll be interested to learn that one of the episodes that I put out on the podcast is an hour-long conversation with an anti-Zionist Jew who I completely disagree with on everything. And you said, I wouldn't talk to a Holocaust denier because I don't know anything on the subject. Well, my goal was to learn about anti-Zionism, right? Because if there are all these Jewish people that claim, that's the right path forward, I wanted to learn what is it that they think they know that I don't. And so for an hour, I spoke to this person.
Bravo you.
Thank you. I'm very proud of this episode.
Okay, now, since you brought it up, I was at UCLA, UC Berkeley, and you heard enough about UC Berkeley.
Yes.
And I found out that there was a Lebanese Christian student that had a very large following, Christians and Muslims, that had a very negative, I would say extreme negative feelings about the state of Israel. And I was wondering if he would be willing to talk to me. To my surprise, he said yes. As I asked him the question, why do you feel so strongly against the state of Israel? I made sure that even facially, I did not give him the opportunity to misinterpret that I'm confrontational. The way you treat somebody, that's the way they will treat you. And I listened to him, and I heard what he said. And he did the same thing. In 45 minutes, approximately, not the exact 45 minutes, okay, we shook hands. And I said, you are lumping together two things that are not the same. If you are against the Israeli government's policy, you have my blessings. We do it ourselves. So what's the difference if he does? But the state of Israel has done nothing to you. Can you separate the two issues? And because we had a dialogue, it was not confrontational. So we listened to each other. We heard what each other had to say. He said yes. And this is something that I would like to see as special course, totally separate from any other curriculum, about dialogue. Because dialogue encompasses every aspect of human life, whether it's marriage, dealing with children, with the opposing views, and everything else. And this must be taught. I'm planting the seed, but somebody has to have the courage to start rolling the ball.
And you know what I learned from this guy that I interviewed? And he wasn't some, just like regular person that has an opinion on anti-Zionism. This is an academic who studied this extensively. He's very thoughtful. He came so prepared, Sami. Out of any guest I've ever had on the podcast, this person did the most research for their episode. He brought in statistics, countless news articles, citations, everything. He was so prepared. And here's what I learned. The two most important things I learned from speaking to him. Number one, he has sincere intentions to do right. What he is believing, he thinks is the ethical, correct thing to do for all people. He genuinely believes this. His intentions are positive. He thinks this is how we should live by Jewish values because he's Jewish, right? He's a Jewish anti-Zionist. He thinks this is the correct way to apply the Jewish ethical code. That's number one. And I feel that very sincerely from him. Number two, he genuinely believes that Palestinians are people who want peace, who are oppressed by Hamas, who can live peacefully with Israelis, don't necessarily support the terrorism or the extent, don't want necessarily the eradication of Jewish people in a Jewish state. He genuinely believes this, even though we know this is not true.
Okay, what I want, first of all, I want to give you credit for
Thank you.
for bringing the podcast. It's very important for other people to hear opposing views, as strong as they are.
Yes.
There is no question in my mind that he believes what he believes.
Yep.
But he read only or picked up only information that confirms what he believes. To make an informed decision, you have to listen to both sides. Nobody has a monopoly on the truth. And I lived in a communist country. In a communist country, you have to be very careful what you say. You know that. Interestingly enough, I used to love to debate. When somebody was a communist, I became the biggest anti-communist you can think of. Whether I believe it or not, it had nothing to do with it. But by being an anti-communist, I wanted to learn that person's strong points. When somebody was an anti-communist, I became a communist because I wanted to learn. And by learning the strong points for both sides, I could make my own informed decision. And this is what a lot of people do not do today, especially the young people. They follow celebrities, they follow people in power, and they follow slogans. And they do not do the research. And this is one of the things. Can I tell you a story about neo-Nazis against me?
Yes, please.
I spoke in Bayonne, New Jersey for 7 years in a row to 735 seventh graders. In 2015, a reporter was there and wrote a very nice article. 2 days later, the neo-Nazis picked up that article, word by word, and put in the internet. And they are using every single word so cleverly that unless you really know the subject, you fall in their trap. And they put on the headline, Jew Holocaust claims Nazi medical experiments he can't remember, then still cause him pain. It is so cleverly done that it took me about 2.5 months to realize that they actually called me 3 times a liar. A simple statement. Number one, Jew Holocaust. Holocaust is made out of 2 words, Holocaust, hoax. It never happened. How can I talk about it? Obviously, I'm a liar. Claims Nazi medical experiments that he doesn't remember. Of course, it's a true statement, but they don't explain why. Obviously, the doctors did not come to my parents, so my parents did not know. I don't know. Still cause them pain. Also a true statement. But why is it still causing me pain? Why will I be in pain the rest of my life? It's because it's not localized. I'm suffering from head, neck, shoulders, and back. And right now, with my age, also other issues, but not related to it. And because it's not localized, I don't know where the pain starts, how long it will be there, where it will go. I don't know the intensity of the pain. It can be extreme or very mild. On the average, every second of my life is 3 and 4. But I'm coming from a generation that was very stoic. You will not see it on my face. And the other line was that somehow I did not mention Joseph Mengele. The innuendo, and he said that millions of people are liars because they claim they went through medical experiments. Now, the fact that I did not mention Joseph Mengele is, number one, I was never in Auschwitz. So obviously he could not. His interest was only on twins. Most of the time he supervised, these experiments. But the other interesting thing, the innuendo is that one person can do millions of experiments. Impossible. One person is responsible for everything else. The innuendo, it's absolutely unreal. You have to be completely idiot or just want to believe what they say. They also put in something else which is interesting. This Jew is nothing but a lying rat. And the Jews were portrayed as rats. Do you know that? Do you know why?
Of course, yeah. Because they were dirty, I think.
Dirty, yes. Okay, but for another reason.
And they carry disease, I think, is what yeah.
Exactly. And by portraying the Jews as threats, they convince the world that the Jews are not only a danger to Germany, but to the world. And that's why other countries participated in the annihilation of the Jewish people. That's exactly. And I tell people that when you portray a person or a group of people by the name of an animal, you are dehumanizing that person or that group, and that is a license to hurt them. Like they called cows, they call them pigs. That's exactly what's happening. So, you know something, there is so many things that we can learn, we can talk about and everything else. And people do not pay attention to those little nuances. And we have to be very precise with words. I'll give you an example. Italians are coming from Italy. French are coming from France. Greeks are coming from Greece. Jews are coming from Judea. So we are indigenous to the land. A former prime minister of Israel used the word West Bank. Why? It's a geographical description west of the Jordan River, quoted by Jordan. And I am saying we have to use the word Judea and Samaria. And take a look at the difference subliminally between those two words. And that's why we have to be very precise with the words we use. When you use West Bank, the first thing that comes to mind is occupation, confrontation. Nothing can be resolved. When you use the word Judea and Samaria, that means that we are indigenous to the land. We cannot occupy it. Iranians cannot occupy Iran. Iraqis cannot occupy Iraq. We cannot occupy our own land. But Judea and Samaria is a disputed territory. And when you use the word instead of West Bank, when you use the word disputed territory, that means that if both sides want to, okay, they can come to a resolution. When you use West Bank confrontation, nothing good will happen. So I am very strong in using the precise words.
I think that's very important, and that's how misunderstandings happen. And as we wrap up here, what do you wish to tell young Jewish people today?
Number one, I want them to be proud Jews, not to be afraid. I want them to stand up to lies, misinterpretations, disinformation. But most importantly, I want them to take example from Martin Luther King Jr. Unite nationwide, march nationwide, bring other people together, bring the media. The Jews have always fought for other ethnic groups. Where and when will we stand up for ourselves? Every ethnic group that came to the United States was demonized, okay, was persecuted. But they were in your face until they were finally accepted. We have to do the same thing. My generation has a victim mentality. The world will be changed by the young people, and that's what I want from the young people. To unite, march nationwide without violence, and bring the media with them. Without the media, nothing will happen.
And how can people connect with you on social media and learn more about your work?
Okay, to connect with me, number one is I call myself MD. I'm not a doctor, I'm media deficient. So the only platform that I really use is Facebook. So you will find me on Facebook. Okay, the other one is email. My email is Sami. My name is spelled unusually. S-A-M-I. It's short for Samantha. People that don't know me call me Ms. Okay, but it's my real name. Okay, so it's my website. My email is Sami1939. Don't give away the secret. That's when I was born. Okay, at gmail.com. Sami1939 @gmail.com. My website is Sami Speaks with an S at the end, SamiSpeaks.com. My telephone number is 646-418-0875. You can reach me at any time, and you can ask me any questions that you want. Okay, and I will be very happy to answer you. You want to meet me in person, that would be my honor, my pleasure, whatever you want. So it's very easy.
And my last question for you is, it's one that I ask every single guest. Who would you like to nominate for People Jew Want to Know podcast?
I nominate Avner Avraham as one of your future guests. He lives in Israel. He has his own agency. He's a former Mossad agent, and he started an exhibit, that is traveling worldwide about the capturing and abducting of Adolf Eichmann. So it's a very interesting story, how he learned about it and how he became the curator. He also is very creative, and he started his own agency called Spy Legends.
Okay, well, thank you for the nomination, Sami. And above all else, thank you for the privilege, a tremendous privilege of having an opportunity to speak with you, have an interview with you, and share this with my listeners.
The pleasure is mine. I'm looking forward to meet you in person.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, please go ahead and rate us 5 stars. Be the first to hear our episodes by subscribing to People Jew Want to Know wherever you get your podcasts. And for exclusive content, follow us on Instagram at People Jew Want to Know.